So I start things off by inking a dewy duck, playing a flounder, passing the turn. He inks and pays 1 for Akita, and passes the turn back to me. I decide to ink a Duke Weaseltown, and for 2, I play out a Della Duck. He inks a Flotsam, then decides to quest for 1 with Kita after playing a Dalmatian Tailwagger. I ready and draw for turn. I decide to play a Pluto into the inkwell, pay 3 for Agrabah. I then take out her Kita with my Della Duck, doing 2 damage to my Della Duck, and I also quest for 1 with Flounder. He inks a Kita and pays 2 for Wendy Darling. She then bites down on Agrabah, doing 2 damage with her Dalmatian Puppy Tailwagger. I then gain 2 lore from Agrabah on my turn. Pay 2 for a Hey, and then 1 to move Hey to Agrabah, making her lose a lore, sending her back down to 0. I then hit the Dalmatian Puppy with my Della Duck, and quest for 1 with my Flounder, taking me to 5. Then ink and pass a turn. He decides to ink and pay 3 for a Horus, and then quest for 2 with Wendy Darling. Back to me. I gain 2 from Agrabah, taking me to 7. I then play 3 for Maui. I then decide to take out her Wendy Darling with my Hey. Only receives 1 damage from the Wendy, and then I quest for 1, taking me to 8 with Flounder. He inks a Nani. Then for 5, plays out Nani. She decides to take out my Agrabah with Horus. I ask her, do you want to put your Nani in Bodyguard? I said yes. I said, I don't know if you want to protect the horse or not. I ready my characters. Draw for turn. Debate for 1 second on my line of play, then I throw my Maui into the Nani, and then my Flounder into the Nani, finishing her off. I then quest for 1 with my Hey, taking me to 9. Then I pay 4 for Grammatala, allowing me to look at the top 2 cards of my deck, put 1 in my hand and 1 on the bottom. I debate on inking, which I don't, and I pass the turn back to Tia. He inks a Cloud Kicker. Then for 1, plays out Pluto. Quest for 1 with Horus, taking her to 3. I pay 2 for an Agrabah. I then pay 1 for a Voyage to move both my characters to Montanui. She loses 1 lore from the Hey, taking her down to 2. I then quest for 1 and 2 with the Hey, the Grandma, and I pass the turn back. Decides to quest for 2 with both Pluto and Horus, taking her to 4. I gain 1 from Montanui, taking me to 12. For 3, I play out Dewey. Pay 1 to move him to Montanui. Then I take out Hey, which goes to my ink while exerted due to Montanui. And I quest for 1 with my Grandma Tala and pass the turn. He plays out, gets 1 from Neverland, taking it to 5. He then pays quest for 1 with the Pluto. Plays out Horus. Gain 1 from Montanui, taking me to 14. I then play a Hey and pay 1 to move him to Montanui, making him go down to 5 lore. I then quest for 3 with the Grandma and the Dewey, taking me to 17. He then pays 1 to play Pluto. He decides to take out my Montanui with Horus. And that's the end of the first game. I quested away. Okay, on to the second game of the 4th round. She inks a Dalmatian puppy tailwagger and pays 1 for a DeVille Manor. My turn. I decide to ink Cogsworth Talking Clock and pass the turn. She gains 1 from the DeVille Manor. She inks a Kita and pays 2 for Wendy Darling and passes the turn. I ink a Webby Vanderquack and pay 2 for a Della Duck. Gains 1 for the DeVille Manor. She inks a Cubby and pays 3 for Agrabah. And then quest for 2 with Wendy Darling, taking her to 4. Ink a Gyro Gear Loose. And for 3, I play out an Agrabah of my own. I then swing into the Wendy Darling, doing 1 damage to my Della Duck, banishing her Wendy Darling. She gains 3 from Agrabah and the DeVille Manor, taking her to 7. He inks Lena Saberwing. And for 4, plays Tinkerbell, allowing her to look at the top 4 cards of her deck, reveal a character card, put it in her hand, and then put the rest on the bottom of her deck in any order. She decides to take Peter Pan and then passes the turn back. I gain 2 for Agrabah. I ink Uncle Scrooge Moneybags. I then play 3 for a Kakamora, making her lose a lore, down to 6. I then do 3 damage to Agrabah. They pass the turn. He draws for turn. Inks a patch. And plays the 4-drop Peter Pan. Quest for 1 with her Tinkerbell. She is now at 10, I believe, with her DeVille Manor and her Agrabah. I finish off the Agrabah with the Della Duck. I throw down the Kakamora, sending her down to 9. I then hit the DeVille Manor for 3 damage. Kakamora. and pay 1 for a Minnie Mouse and pass the turn. Gains 1, sending her back up to 10 with the DeVille Manor. She pays 1 to move Peter Pan to DeVille Manor and gaining her the lore from that location from Peter Pan's special ability. He then plays Strike a Good Match for 2, or sings Strike a Good Match for 2 with Tinkerbell. He then pays 3 for Wildcat and quests for 1 with Peter Pan, or doing 3 damage to Agrabah with Peter. I gain 2 from Agrabah, taking me to 6. I decide to take out Peter Pan with my Adela Duck. I then do 3 damage to Tinkerbell, taking 1 damage, and then 1 damage to the DeVille Manor with my Minnie Mouse, finishing it off. I then finish off the Tinkerbell with the other Kakamora, receiving 1 damage on that one as well. Paying 2 for a Hey Hey, and then paying 1 to move him to Agrabah, making her go down to 10 lore. And I pass the turn. He inks and pays 5 for Nani. He forgets about the bodyguard ability for a moment. She pays 1 for Pluto. And then decides to finish off Agrabah with Wildcat. And I ready my characters. He says, "Can I put this in bodyguard?" I said, "Yes, you can go right ahead." I'm a nice guy, so I don't mind. So I debate what to do for a second. I then throw both Kakamoras into Hernani, sending them both to the discard pile. I then quest for 2 with my Hey Hey and my Minnie Mouse. I then pay 4 for Grammatala, allowing me to look at the top 2 cards of my deck. Put 1 on the bottom, 1 in my hand. I then decide not to ink again, and I pass the turn. She decides to pay 4 for Patch and quest for 2 with Goofy and Wildcat, taking her to 12. I ink a Grammatala. Then for 2, I play Montanui. And for 1, I move Hey Hey to Montanui, making her lose 4, taking her down to 11. I move Minnie Mouse and Grammatala both to Montanui. And then I quest for 3, taking me to 11. Or is 11-11 right now. He then throws down the Pluto shift on top of the other Pluto. She asks, this character can go into bodyguard. I said it doesn't really matter because you shift it on top. You can just quest with it instead. It all depends what you want to do. She then decides to quest for 4, taking her to 15. I ready my ink and my characters. Gain 1 from Montanui, taking me to 12. Decide to pay or not. I think about what should be the best line here, as she does have 15 lore. So I ink Maid Marian. I then pay 4 for Grammatala, allowing me to look at the top 2 cards of my deck, put 1 in my hand and 1 in the bottom. Then pay 2 for a Duke Weaselton. And I quest for 3, taking me to 18. She then pays 3 for a Jetsam. She quests for 1, 2, 3, 4, taking her to just under the game, and then I play out the Sumerian Talisman and I quest, and that's the game. So the last 2 rounds went a heck of a lot better.